All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Kubernetes Cluster API Azure, our weekly meeting. It's July 11th, 2024. As I'm sure you know, we are a subproject of SIG Cluster Lifecycle, and therefore we abide by the Kubernetes community rules of conduct, which boil down basically to try not to talk over each other, try to treat everyone as you would like to be treated, and let's make this a welcoming environment. At the beginning here, we offer a minute for anyone who's here for the first time or wants to speak up and introduce themselves. So I'll be quiet for a second and please unmute if you want to. I'll take that as a no. Let's move on. So first topic, oh, actually, let me move this down to the open discussion. I think that's the general idea of this oddly structured outline we have. All right, Sean, you want to talk about additional load balancers?
Sure. So I talked about this a couple of weeks ago, but I'll talk about my progress since then. So I work with Red Hat and I work on OpenShift, and OpenShift has we use two load balancers. We have a public load balancer and a private load balancer. And we initially used Terraform to do all the setup of the cluster. We've since migrated we're currently rewriting everything using CatZ for Azure anyway. And Azure only allows a single load balancer, or not Azure, CatZ only allows a single load balancer that's private or public. And so we need either, and this, I came here a couple weeks ago initially asking the best approach that would get approval from you guys. So I figured out we can either make the API server load balancer field an array and then fake it being a single field throughout the rest of the code, or we can add an additional load balancer field, and that can either be a single load balancer or an array as well. And what you guys told me was you didn't have any problems with it necessary, but you wanted to make sure that there weren't any contracts with the cluster API folks. So I talked to the cluster API folks, and there isn't any problems there. Nobody's working on anything. There's no other way to do this. And what the other providers have done, so GCP and AWS, they have added an additional field for additional load balancers. So that's where we're at. And so I want to know the direction to go forward to get approval from you guys to work on this and commit code or submit PRs without it being rejected immediately. That's all.
Cool. Well, that's great. You did all that research. Sounds like you. So does anybody have any feedback for John? John, Hugh?
Yeah, so
Sorry.
I can't imagine that like an additional load balancers field would get rejected right away. That sounds totally fine to me at first glance. So yeah, I'd say go ahead and open a PR and we'll take it from there.
Yeah, I would agree, especially if that's the way that others have gone. We don't want to blaze a trail here. If that worked for them, that's probably acceptable for us as well, is my naive impression. Yeah, go ahead, John.
All right, sorry, I seem to have lost my video. I don't know what the problem is. Okay, so I mean, if that's all I got. I did an initial implementation, but I did it, exactly the opposite of what we should do. I will make it to where we have an additional field, and I'll just continue to come to these meetings, talk to you guys about progress and whatnot. So that's it.
That's great. Awesome. We'll look for the PR so we can pounce on it in a good way. Great. Any other questions or feedback about that? Because next we have release milestone. All right. Um, so here's we're just going to go through our release stuff. If you if you're not super interested in this, feel free to drop. But uh, we technically, or not so technically, had a we're going to release this week. There's some we weren't quite there, and there were some specific things we want to get in. So we kicked it to next week, July 16th. Which seems like it ought to be enough time not to burn down this entire list, probably, but to have merged some ASO things and maybe some other stuff we want to get in there. So that's the high level summary. Do we want to just fly over these and get an updated status? Is that what you're thinking, David?
Yeah, I think we'll just go through each one and then just mark it. I mean, at this point, we want to release like I think next week, so we should just deem is this in scope or not. I think the provision Azure Linux by default in my mind is not like high
Yeah,
priority.
I'm still just stuck on some issue provisioning Calico. Otherwise, everything works great. You can bring the cluster up and the so yeah, I'm still stuck on. It's still
Yeah, I
fine.
mean, I think based on priorities, I think like we've talked about, I think it's probably should just punt it to the next one, unfortunately, but
Yep,
it's okay. I think it'll be good to get in
like
there
it could have
for the
been
next one.
pretty smooth sailing, but it wasn't. And I did reach upstream to some people in Mariner as much as I could. And nobody really had any clue what I was talking about. Uh,
Yeah.
this is yours, David. Document how to run management server.
Yeah, I mean, documentation is documentation. I don't think you need to, you know, have it for I mean, it's ideal for the milestone, but I'm not.
It's not
I
in
have
progress or anything yet. So,
another repo that's automatically provisioning that. So that's
all
where
right,
I'm looking for.
I'll put it on the next. Um, this I actually did get to uh, on Monday and made some progress in. John had a great suggestion about there's actually a struct that is intended for this purpose that I missed. And I almost got that working. Some unit tests are still failing, but I have much higher priority stuff right now. So I think it's, unless this looks too embarrassing, which is kind of, I'm just going to say next. Because yes, this library went out of support like over a year ago. Although they did publish an update to it about a month ago, which was interesting. Got like a CD fix, so it's not 100% unsupported. Um, AAD managed RBAC is currently set to Azure. John? Yoon?
Yeah, so I think there are two or three issues in the milestone that kind of fall into this bucket of you can do this in the ASO API stuff that we just moved out of experimental. Um, so I guess I could do we want to keep these issues open or close them in favor of shepherding people to the new API?
I mean, I think I'm fine to close them out since we know that they're in there. You've listed a link to them there, so I'm okay with that for now. I do think, like I said, I have one issue on the usability side. I think we need to kind of have a little better user thing there for letting people know if I wanted this, or this. Here's the flow I would do because there's a bazillion settings in ASO. Um, and it's not super clear how you would go about, just adding this or that. But yeah, but yeah, so I would say to favor of close and whatnot. Go ahead, Nellis.
Yeah, I wanted to add that, yeah, I think we should add one uh, sample YAML and have it connected to the ASO, how the ASO brings up an AKS cluster. I think what David is asking here is for us to have a link to documentation which can explain users that, hey, this is how you can add all of these settings. Yeah, I apologize. I didn't get a time to get to this. Before I went on to the break, I started doing it and then had to go on the break. medical leave.
So do we want the resolution of this in the end to actually be creating some additional documentation, like a specific example of how to do exactly this?
Yeah, I mean, I think that the issue that I linked to there is kind of the one that I was hoping for to try and solve that, because I think what we need is more clear instructions for, hey, I want to add this field blah for AKS. How exactly do I do that? Right,
Oh, I
with the
see.
new.
I see. Yeah, John, go ahead.
Yeah, I think some general information like that would be helpful. I guess what I would like to try to avoid is anytime someone asks a question, we give them some YAML to copy paste and then be done. It would be nice if we could have kind of a general flow where we don't have to like explicitly document every single thing because that is just not super sustainable. So I will at least
Yeah.
throw in a YAML snippet for like the issues that are open right now, either around the time we close them. Um, but yeah, I think some extra hints here would be good.
So in short, I think sounds like you are gonna post a sample for this for now, and then moving forward, hopefully the other issue we can get general guidance to make it easier for people to know how to do it themselves.
Yeah, I mean, I'll throw in a YAML snippet in the issue, but I guess I would rather not maintain that in perpetuity in documentation.
Yeah, of
Documentation.
course. No, of course. Yeah, of course. So I think that, and that's what I called out on the other issue is just more of a like a framework that people can follow, on how to like add your feature that you want in AKS, right? And I think then that way we could more easily just kind of close these things out, and you could just link to here's the spec reference from the ASO AKS definition, right? And then whatever, right?
Yep, cool. So Matt, I would say go ahead, keep this in the milestone. Um,
Okay.
we can shuffle assignees if we want, but I'll make sure to throw in a YAML snippet here and then close this out.
Okay. So this isn't, I mean, this is kind of a an umbrella issue, but we're going to close these without um, but this is all pointing to the general idea that we need to improve, as you said, the general UX and we don't want to maintain. I don't know. I feel like specific examples is sometimes helpful, but obviously we go off in the weeds. Probably if we did all of these, that would be too much to support. So,
Yeah,
all
I'm
right.
kind of hoping that
Yeah.
the flavor templates give enough like concrete example with if you combine that with kind of the slightly more abstract documentation, then I kind of hope that should be enough,
Yeah.
but we'll see.
Cool. Thanks. So in the end, no change.
Yes.
Um, Test upgrades of CAPC installations that manage AKS clusters. We test upgrade tests only use self-managed. Okay, makes sense. But we are blocked because mm,
So 1.7 is done.
oh,
What about the
okay,
next? What's the other one? Oh, that one's merged. So technically it's
cool.
not blocked anymore, but I don't think no one's on it and it's not priority. So I would say unblock it to do, yeah, and then put it in the next milestone. Go ahead, John.
Yeah, I was just going to tag Willie because I believe he had the most recent progress on this.
Yeah, I oh yeah, so this was blocked on a CAPI test that I finished a while ago, like that allows the upgrade test to test like machine pools that are not backed by machine pool machines. So this is um available to do. So I can work on that. I think I'm assigned to it
Yeah,
for
we're not trying to rejigger priorities, just figuring out whether it goes in the milestone or not.
okay. Um
We put it in next.
yeah, sure.
Sounds good. And this I guess this is the PR. We talked about this earlier. Container storage for managed clusters. David.
Yeah, I think it's the same kind of thing as the last one, a feature that should be doable. That's actually, it should also be doable with not just the ASO API, but I think the other one as well. But I haven't, I deployed it, but then there was a connection thing. So I don't know, maybe we want to just close it out.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Close. What kind of justification should I give him or not?
Yeah, I did actually do deploy once with it. I don't think I came back and did the close of the issue.
Just close it. All right. Sorry, trying to back up. FAQ for AKS.
Yeah, so this I think that once I think this will make more sense once we have the UX experience thing better.
Yeah.
So I would just punt that to not this milestone.
Okay. Support for node image up aggregates to AKS, not cool.
I think this is a feature thing, right? That it should be available. It's kind of one of the API type snippet things, I think.
Yes, I think this kind of falls in that same bucket.
Wait, 2021? Is this for real? Holy cow. So theoretically, the path is available, but we just haven't been able to get to it.
Yep.
All right. Setting route tables to virtual network subnets for AKS managed clusters.
Same thing for this one, I think.
Okay.
You can see the link that I have there to UX as the root issue. So that's the giveaway.
Yep. Update the CAPI quick start or CAPZ service principles. Oh yeah. Next milestone, I assume.
Yeah, docs can come in shortly after, right, and get merged. So I don't want to block a release on it.
It's true.
Yeah, I mean, it probably like the first person that tries to run the quick start with 116 is going to hit breakage. But we can help them kind of on the fly in the meantime if they can't figure it out for themselves, which
Yeah, I
is
mean,
entirely
I
possible.
would say it needs to be high priority, right? Like we need to, after we get 116, it should be like we should prioritize the doc on it ASAP.
Should we block the release on this, or do we think we can deliver this just in time?
I don't think it's like an emergency type thing. Because I mean, it's not like we're changing any functionality. We can, if people come to us with questions, we can help them through it. And it's not super gnarly. It's
Oops.
just kind of annoying the first
But
time.
I mean, will the quick start, like when 116 is out, it will fail 100% of the time?
I mean, with the literal instructions that are given in the quick start, yes. I think.
I don't know. That feels then maybe it's worth a blocking thing for the release.
I think it might be. Maybe we could all swarm on
Yeah.
this next week. Sorry, Nawaz, you had your hand up. Go ahead.
No, I just wanted to plus one to what David is saying. I think if quick start is going to fail for sure, then I think we should block the release and add that documentation in.
And
I agree.
this falls back into the security bucket as well. So I think it's important to prioritize.
Yeah, John.
Yeah, I guess the other consideration here is that if we do update the quick start for CabZ 116, then it's not going to work for any other version of CabZ since the template's kind of hard code either service principal or workload ID. So
We do we have a way to navigate to earlier versions of the docs, or we just have the one?
I think Cappy just exposes the one.
Yeah, it's because we haven't updated the docs to where there's the drop down stuff. Like Doxy has that. The doc Hugo Doxy has the versioning thing, whereas the current MD book thing we use and Cappy uses doesn't have that. So it's a significant limitation.
All right, well, at least we have a consensus that we need to get that done in sync with the release.
Yeah, let's think about what we could do because I mean the quick start does get kind of gnarly. I think at least if we can have a link to the workload identity quick start, that would be, I think, a bare minimum. So that way, like, we can have something there for somebody, so not just
Yeah.
everything fails out the gate.
Yeah, maybe the doc itself should say for versions of 115, 115 or earlier, follow this. Otherwise, go over here.
Yeah.
Then we're covered.
Yep.
Since we, yeah. Okay, cool. This is still failing. I don't know why I've been not paying a lot of attention to it. I reverted something Jonathan suggested, and it's still failing. So it's just annoying, but it's not at all important. So let's put it in the next milestone.
Go ahead, John.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had one more thing on the quick start thing. Should we
Yes, sorry.
assign that issue to somebody? I can take that.
You sure?
Yep.
Okay. Oops. I gotta type here. There we go.
Cool, thanks.
Thank you. Oops. Oh no, that is the list. This is a little alarming because it's failed in CI. I mean, the PR is straightforward. You guys know it's just like updating some fields. But all of a sudden, it's failing two tests, and I have to say consistently, or at least 2 or 3 times in a row. So I need to dig into this because it's not the end of the world, but we ought to get this in for the release. I would hope. So the IPv6 is failing in the main tests, and then on AKS it just never gets all the way to provisioned. And that's as far as I've looked at it. So that's annoying. This I looked at yesterday. It's huge, but it looks fine to me, John. So if someone else wants to review this or approve it, I think it's ready to go. And that's it.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I think this is pretty doable. I mean, I think it's just, I guess if we can get over the CAPI 174 issues with the tests, then I think we're pretty good shape to release next Tuesday.
Yeah. All right. That is everything on the agenda. Anybody have any other comments, etc.? Seems like no. All right, cool. We will see everybody here next week. Thanks for coming.
See you.
Thanks, Matt.